Hi and welcome back to Classic MGB and another Viewers Cars episode. For this one, we're heading over to Sydney in Australia to meet Mark Nelson. His relationship with MGB started in 1978, so let's dive right in. Mark's first MGB was a 1963 Roadster in Iris Blue, which he bought in 1978. This was followed by a Mineral Blue 1966 Mark I Roadster in 1980, and then a Sandy Beige 1967 MGB-GT Mark I in 1984. Now, this was an interesting car and had several really useful modifications made by a previous owner in the 1960s, including increasing the height of the front seats to improve the driving position, bespoke headrests, a parcel tray below the glove box, and also a new blower with twin dash-mounted eyeball vents to replace the heater. Clearly, these modifications were designed to improve the creature comforts in the car. There was also an oval-shaped GB plate stuck on the bodywork next to the fuel filler cap, which suggested the car had originally been privately imported into Australia from the UK. However, by 1988, Mark had sold the car, and that was that for a while. Fast forward to August 2023, and Mark was idly flicking through a classic car site when he spotted a Sandy Beige GT for sale. This was significant because Sandy Beige is a fairly rare colour in Australia. Looking at the photos more closely, Mark realised that this was actually the car he'd owned 35 years earlier. Quite incredibly, it had survived remarkably well, having been locked in a shed and forgotten about. Having thought about it for a bit, Mark decided to buy the car, but when he inquired, it had been sold. A few months later, in April 2024, Mark was watching one of our videos, his words not ours, and this rekindled his interest in MGBs, so he started browsing a few classic car sites. To his amazement, his Sandy Beige GT was up for sale again. At first he couldn't believe it, but after a conversation with the seller and seeing a few photos of the car, Mark bought it sight unseen, as it was on the other side of the country, a massive distance in Australia. A week later, the car arrived on a trailer and Mark was amazed that the condition was very similar to how he remembered it 36 years before, with the original sills and other bodywork as well as most of the paintwork. This is likely due to the car being carefully stored and, of course, the dry climate. In the intervening years, new seat leather, door trims and carpets had been added and the gear lever had been replaced to allow the overdrive switch to be moved from a stalk on the steering column to the lever itself. Now, the interesting thing is that whilst the MGB Roadster was produced in Australia, the GT wasn't, so all GTs had been imported, and both the B Series and V8 were both available, as this picture of the V8 with Don Hayter and Alec Hounslow proves. Incidentally, Alec Hounslow, the development shop foreman, was Nuvolari's riding mechanic in 1933 and went on to serve in motor torpedo boats during the Second World War, but that's another story. Mark now has the car that he sold 36 years ago, and it just goes to prove you might sell one, but you'll never get the MGB out of your system. And judging by Mark's face in this shot, he's loving his MGB even more second time round. So that's it. If you'd like your car featured in a future Viewers Cars episode, drop us an email at hello@classicmgb.com, telling us all about the car and adding a few pictures. Of course, if you've got some video, then so much the better. Finally, if you've enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you'd like it and share it. And if you want to know when we upload new content, feel free to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. As always, thanks for watching and take care.